Angels for 2026? Up next on Fantasy Baseball Today. Welcome to On the Beat, our team preview series here at Fantasy Baseball Today. I am Chris Towers, joined by Jeff Fletcher, who covers the Angels for the SoCal News Group. Make sure you give him a follow on X at Jeff Fletcher OCR. And we are talking about the Angels, of course, today. And, you know, the Angels are an interesting team, have had an interesting offseason. And the thing about a team like the Angels for fantasy is they give a lot of guys a chance. And you know, last season we saw Joe Adell, you know, kind of start to live up to the promise that he was supposed to have. And there are going to be some interesting names on this team. Let's talk about the offseason that they've had so far. New manager Kurt Suzuki, all new coaching staff, some new voices in there. They traded Taylor Ward for Grayson Rodriguez. We're going to talk about him shortly. Signed a bunch of arms, just kind of, like I said, taking chances. Alek Manoah, Jordan Romano, Drew Pomeranz, Kirby Yates. A lot of buy low opportunities there for the Angels that they're going to try to turn into a viable major league pitching staff. They acquired Vaughn Grissom, kind of the same thought process there. And then their latest, Josh Lowe from the Rays in a 3-team deal. And there's a real trend there where the Angels are trying to find some talented guys who maybe need a change of scenery, maybe need an opportunity. And we're going to start with one of them. What is the latest on the health and status of Grayson Rodriguez, formerly arguably the top pitching prospect in baseball, but injuries have been a problem? Jeff, Grayson Rodriguez ready to go for the start of spring training?
As far as I know, we've heard nothing against to contradict that. He's in Arizona. I'm pretty sure he's been throwing down there. So I think that you don't really know until you get to, you know, airing it out and facing hitters and pitching in spring training games and that kind of thing. So I wouldn't say that we can totally say that he's good to go, but so far he hasn't gotten hurt in the winter. So that's a good sign.
That's when you've had the kind of injuries that Grayson Rodriguez has had over the years, just getting through the offseason can be a win. But, you know, he is someone who, it's been a lot of lat injuries. He had an elbow cleanup procedure as well. But I hope at least that we haven't lost that upside, because he was someone I really liked coming into last season before the injuries. Do they have any specific plans on what they want Grayson Rodriguez to work on? Or is this really just, as long as he's healthy, we think he can be a big help?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they just feel like he's got a lot of talent. And he says that he thinks the lat injury really caused some of the other stuff. And that if he, you know, did some different things to avoid that just basically clears up everything. So, you know, it's not like he feels like he's a guy that's had a bunch of different injuries. He feels like it's been one thing that has caused the other stuff. So there's certainly hope for him. He's certainly got a lot of upside, and he's still very young, and the Angels have him under control. There's no risk to him, basically. He's still not making any money. So I think that they're just – I use the word lottery ticket a lot when I'm writing about the Angels, and I think that they have spent the winter collecting a lot of guys that there's really not much risk to and not much cost to, and that they all have shown the talent to be much better than they've been, or to go back to being, you know, what they were a year or two ago. So I think that's what they're trying to do with, you know, also Manoah and Vaughn Grissom and Josh Lowe. Even he was a great player, you know, in 2023. So all these guys that have, like, still not making any money, still pretty young. That's what they're trying to do, basically, is collect these lottery tickets, and hopefully some of them hit.
And we love that for fantasy, because these guys are all going to be cheap. And if one or two of them become, you know, pretty productive players, that's a big win for us. Obviously, would be a big win for the Angels. Another place that there could be a lot of value in this Angels team is in the bullpen. You know, Kenley Jansen's out of the picture. We are projecting a bullpen committee, but I'm hoping you can give us a little clarity as to who might be most likely to get saved. We got Robert Stevenson, Kirby Yates, Jordan Romano. Those guys all have at least a little bit, or in, you know, Yates and Romano's case, quite a bit of experience as closers. So who do you think is going to be the closer for this Angels team?
That's a great question. I'd say they have really 4 guys that have the stuff or experience to do it. And kind of going backwards order from their age, Ben Joyce is the guy who's probably the long-term answer, they hope. You know, he throws 105, but he's gotten hurt a lot. So I don't think that they're going to commit anything to him, but they'd love for him to be healthy and him to take this job and and have it for 5 years. But we don't even know if he's going to start the season healthy yet. So he had surgery last year, so we'll see. Then after that, Robert Stevenson is a guy who had a lot of issues last year. Mm-hmm. But the brief little time that he pitched, he looked really good. And so if he could be healthy, he can still be very good. And then you go to like Jordan Romano and Kirby Yates. Those guys have been closers. They're a little older than those other guys. They've had, injury issues and ineffectiveness issues too. So I would say right now, if you put a gun to my head and said, like, who's going to get their first save opportunity this season, I'd say it's probably going to be Kirby Yates, just kind of by default. We'll see what happens in spring training. But, I think that he is probably number one on the depth chart at the moment, but that certainly could change. And like I said, those 4 guys are really the main 4 to pick from.
Yeah, and Yates, for anyone who forgot, was arguably the best closer in baseball in 2024 when he pitched for the Rangers, had 33 saves, a 1.17 ERA, struggled with the Dodgers last season, but still had crazy whiff rates and good strikeout numbers. So if he can keep the ball in the yard, there's definitely a chance for Kirby Yates to take that job. We are going to take a quick break, and we'll be back to talk a couple sleepers and breakouts for the Angels.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ, streaming free anywhere you are.
And we're back to Fantasy Baseball today, previewing the Angels with Jeff Fletcher. And Jeff, who's your sleeper for this squad?
Well, I don't know if he totally counts as a sleeper because he was pretty good in 2024. That's Jose Soriano, starting pitcher. He's got crazy stuff, and when he is on, he is as good as any pitcher going. And I really thought that in 2025 he was going to take a next step forward and be, really show something. But he kind of had like this little rut where he would pitch awesome one game and then really terrible another game. So I think that still he's young, and he's got Mike Maddox now as a pitching coach. So if he can really just kind of mold all that talent into something, I think they could really have something. If they could just take those starts where he gives up 6 runs and turn them into starts where he gives up 3 runs, and then you combine that with the other ones where he's giving up no runs or 1 run, all of a sudden you've got somebody really good. It's easier said than done, I know, but he definitely has the talent.
Yeah, he's got this combination of, being one of, if not the best ground ball pitcher in baseball, 65% ground ball rate last season. But he's got this curveball and splitter that can miss bats. There's a lot to like there. It's just they need some of these young guys, I feel like, to take a step defensively, because he's a guy that definitely is going to need a better infield defense behind him. But we have definitely here on Fantasy Baseball today had a lot of discussions about Jose Soriano and the upside there. So I like the call. Who's your breakout pick?
I'm going to say Nolan Schanuel. And I don't think he's going to break out to become like a 30-homer guy or anything like that. Everybody knows that the power has been kind of the question, especially at first base. But he's still really young. He's 24, and he's the best hitter, hitter in quotes, that the Angels have in terms of being able to put the bat on the ball, move the ball around the field. He knows how to hit, and I think that when you're that young, that you just really get a lot better. And I think the difference between him going from 12 homers to 24 homers is just a little bit of experience and just knowing when is the time to really unleash your big swing and take a shot at pulling one out to right field rather than just poking one into the gap in left center. And I think that doesn't come with necessarily like getting more bat speed or being stronger. I just think it's between his ears. And I think that, you give him, as he's had another year under his belt, I think that I could definitely see him going and being like a 25 homer guy and hitting close to 300 and, having an on-base percentage of 400 and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's possible for him.
All right. That's a Nolan Schanuel name to keep an eye on for fantasy. And that's going to do it for our Angels preview. Big thanks to Jeff Fletcher, who covers the Angels for the SoCal News Group. Make sure to give him a follow on X at Jeff Fletcher OCR. And for more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to our full-length podcast, Fantasy Baseball Today, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to our On the Beat team preview series. We'll be back again tomorrow. We'll see you then.